Hi and welcome along to Channel 4's The Real Football Fan Show podcast with me, Robbie Lyle, the show that's made for the fans. On today's show, we put TOWIE's Liam Gatsby on the spot, asking him about his life as a former footballer and his beloved team. And we also get his views on the season so far. In the studio, I'm going to be playing referee to Neeks, the Manchester United fan, and also Ian Cheeseman, the Man City fan, as we discuss the fallout from the Manchester derby. And we got nominations for Baller and Wasteman of the Week, and find out if I got my predictions right in Challenge Robbie, and do I actually win one for once? We will find out today. But first of all, let me welcome along my two guests. Neeks, Man United fan, how you doing?
Not too good. Not too good.
I thought you might say that. And Ian Cheeseman, I'm not even going to ask you how you're feeling. He's a Man City fan. You're feeling good, ain't you?
Top of the morning to you.
Of course, it was the Manchester derby on Sunday, the biggest game it was of the weekend. And it was Manchester City who came out on top, winning by 3-1. And we caught up with a load of the fans after the game and got their reactions, both Man United and Man City fans, to the result.
You know how good this feels?
You tell me.
City, pride of the town. Pride of the town. Pride of the town.
I think Manchester United are a brilliant team, aren't they? They're just not as good as Man City. They used to be, they're not anymore, mate. They're not in our class, are they?
Come on the Blues, top of the league, 100 points. United will never sing that, and neither will Liverpool.
And this is why I get continually frustrated when I watch this shit, bro. We didn't come here to win. We didn't look like winning. And then our best players look shit, bro. Martial looked, well, he was nowhere today, and it wasn't his fault. Like, we were not built to win this game. Like, if you're playing against Manchester City, Liverpool beat them 3 times last season, yeah? You have to press these guys.
Nothing happened. The ball getting to midfield. Sideways passes. Nothing. Mourinho has to go. He has to go.
Nah, we're just not good enough. Like I was saying in there, our players, who's there that's good really when you check it?
Let me start with you first, Ian, because you've got a big smile on your face. I wish they had we were filming this, so you could see the smile on his face. It's brilliant. 3-1 winners and easy winners as well. You took Man United apart, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean, that was the 75th Manchester derby I've actually attended, and I've seen a lot of defeats and draws down the years. That was my 20th victory out of 75, and I have to say, it was the first time I ever sat watching the game without that feeling of jeopardy or that tension or that fear that City might slip up. I watched the game unfold right from the offset. They controlled possession, they dominated the game. Never at any point did I think United were going to be a threat. I know they got the penalty in the second half when Lukaku came on, and obviously Edison came flying out. It was a penalty, and they got the goal. But apart from that, I think that was the only shot United had in the game. Actually.
So you weren't even worried, because remember last year you were winning 2-0 at half-time, and then they came back. You weren't even worried?
Not at all. I went and talked to some fans at half-time for my vlog, etc., and they were actually taking the mickey of themselves, which is very typical of City fans. So they're sort of saying, "Oh, we're not playing very well. This is United's best performance of the season, and we're still beating them 1-0. So I loved all that, and that's how I felt. I really thought that they controlled the game, they controlled the possession, obviously exemplified really by that 44-pass goal when Gundogan scored later on. The passing, the movement, the lack of fight from United. United no longer feel to me like a true rival. They're a mid-table team, and they don't seem to care about the Manchester derby. They've gone on and on and on for years about, oh, Liverpool's a bigger game to us. Well, you keep to your Liverpool game then. It obviously showed in your performance, and I'm afraid you're living in the past now. You are yesterday's club, yesterday's team.
Ooh, Neeks. This is hurtful, man. I mean, listen, that 44 pass move for that goal, they took the mick, didn't they? I mean, what happened to United yesterday? They parked the bus again.
They did, and the reality is, we've seen in this season and previous seasons that if you park the bus against Man City, you're going to get ripped apart. As a matter of fact, they expect you, similar to the Barcelona team under Pep, they expect teams to park the bus. So they're kind of set up, designed for it, to pass, and they're going to pick you apart because of the quality. I don't understand why he would do it, because the results that we have had against City in his time at Manchester United, have only come when we've decided to attack. But the issue is that it's not just the fact that we're playing City and we're doing this. It seems like every game, it takes us going behind before we even decide to come out our own half. Whether it's Bournemouth. When I saw that Bournemouth game and the way they passed us off the park in the first half, I was already fearing the City game.
Look at the players you've got. Alexis Sanchez, Martial, Rashford, Pogba. I know you weren't playing yesterday, but you've got all these incredible players, right? And you still play in that style. Where yesterday, basically, you got the most joy pumping the ball up to Marion Fellaini.
Well, it's Jose Mourinho's style. That's the bottom line. Jose Mourinho is not going to change as a manager. He's not really on a consistent basis going to change his tactics.
So is he the right man for your club then?
No, he's not the right man for a club. And I'm not saying that we need to sack him now. And I'm not even saying that if we sack him, everything's going to turn up on his head and we're going to be champions of England. But no, because I think the problems at Man United run much deeper than the manager. But he is part of the problem. He's one of the problems. And if we are to return to where we need to go, getting rid of him is one of the steps. It's not the only one. And I'm not even sure if it's the first step.
As a Blue, can I just say that I hope Mourinho stays there for a long, long time.
Yeah, they all say that.
I actually think that Mourinho is... I agree with what you're saying about that there is a bigger picture here for United, and obviously they're not my club. But the first thing to me that would have to change if I was a Red is that Mourinho goes. The reason why United can come from behind is as soon as they go behind, all the shackles, all the Mourinho tactics are thrown off. And me, as a Blue, sitting watching that derby, I'm thinking, I'd said to the guy who sat next to me, the only player I fear in this United team is Juan Mata. And they never pick him. He's on the bench. He's United's best player.
All right, listen, we asked a load of Manchester City fans, who do they think will be the biggest club in the next 10 years? And this is what they had to say.
Just everything they're doing around the stadium, with the academy down to the players, you know, just throughout the club, everything's just going really well. As you look at United, it's just so bitter at the moment.
It's obviously still going to be Man City because they're the best. Full stop.
I'd say if Woodward gets Jose's successor wrong, it'll be City.
City, of course. Look at our squad compared to theirs. We've got young players coming through: Sterling, Sane, Foden. Look at United's. That's all I'm going to say.
For 20 years, they ridiculed us, yeah? Even when they were winning trebles, they had banners in their stadium mocking us. So for them to turn around and go, we don't care about Man City, Liverpool's our real derby, it's a load of rubbish. It's a load of rubbish. At the end of the day, they do care. And what's going on here, and what's going on with us, is absolutely destroying them inside out. So don't let them tell you it's not, because the real Mancunians that work in Manchester, going to work in Salford, going in the factories and all that, they're killing them inside to go in there knowing what we're doing at the end of the day. So at the end of the day, they can do this and do that and do this, but they're spending £100 million on Pogba. He don't even want to be there. They got Alexis Sanchez. They spent 500 grand a week on a piano teacher. At the end of the day, that is it. At the end of the day, we're Man City. We're humble. We know where we're from. We've been there. We're coming and we're enjoying it. At the end of the day, if it all ended tomorrow and the Sheik ran away and said, I want to buy a baseball team, we'd go back to being Man City.
Wow, pretty damning there. You know what? Let me start with you, Ian. I mean, a lot of those City fans here reflecting what you said, that basically in the next 10 years, Manchester City are going to be the biggest club in Manchester. Do you think that?
Yeah, it depends how you define big club, though. I mean, nobody's disputing the fact that United have got a bigger fan base because of the history of the fact that they came to the table when the Premier League first went on to Sky, when all the money came in. That's when they had the big advantage. And obviously the big discussion that's been happening recently about financial fair play and UEFA and supposed money sort of altering, shall we say, and all that type of thing. Whether it's true or not, I'm sure it goes on everywhere, by the way. But even if that's true, it's because City have had to play catch-up. Now, what they've done is they've played brilliant catch-up because they created this fantastic academy. The stadium will be expanded as and when they need it. Everything that they're doing off the field is just absolutely perfect. And United is a tired old stadium, Old Trafford. It's got the tradition, it's got the name and all that sort of stuff. But if you've ever sat in the seats, there's no leg room, the views aren't all perfect. It's just a tired old stadium. And City are far, far ahead of United in terms of how they market themselves, the website, the Twitter account, everything that they do. United are looking at and thinking, we should be doing this, we need to do this. And they're arrogantly, I can see, obviously, Neeks shaking his head as I'm saying all this, thinking, oh no, this will just carry on. They're the history club and they need to get real if they're going to try to play catch-up. But for the next 10, 15 years, off the field, they're way, way ahead. On the field, they're way, way ahead. The only way United can compete is through history.
Wow.
Well, listen, first and foremost.
Pretty damning that.
No, listen, first and
you're
foremost.
the other guy, so you pay 500 grand a week for a piano player.
I can get into that, but the bottom line is, we talk about which club is going to be bigger, which club is bigger, etc. If you want to start the counting from 2008 when the money came and you signed Robinho, who didn't even know he was signing for Man City because he only thought there was one club in Manchester. That was only 10 years ago. He actually thought he was signing for Chelsea, the only team who actually wears blue in the Premier League. That's who Man City were 10 years ago. Now, there's no way that 10 years later, or even 20 years later, that Man City can become a bigger club than Manchester United. First and foremost, and I interviewed some of the fans after, they said that Man United sing 20 times Man United, which we do, 20 Premier League titles. Until Man City even sniff that, they can't talk about being a bigger club. Because Liverpool are close to it. They're on 18, obviously, we knocked them off their perch. But they're not even a bigger club than Manchester United. One second, no.
All you're doing is proving my point.
No. I'm saying if Man City had to be a bigger club, you need to actually win on the pitch. And I'm not just talking about one Premier League here and then a couple of years later, another Premier League. I'm talking about Champions League as well. And a lot of your fans don't even respect the Champions League or respect UEFA, whichever way you want to look at it. You go to the Champions League games purely to boo the anthem because you can't sit and dine at the top table with the elite clubs like Manchester United. We ain't won a Champions League since 2008, but we are respected in Europe. And until you get that respect from the likes of Barcelona, you can go away to somewhere like Juventus, and even though we ain't playing well, people know it's Manchester United. We can actually get a result because of our history. Man City don't have that. Now on the pitch,
keep repeating the word history. I'm not disagreeing with that.
No, but the point is, in the next 10 years, until you come close or match the achievements of Manchester United, you can't even be in the discussion about being a bigger club.
But they're not going to do that in the next 10 years.
Exactly. So the answer is no.
In one sentence, what makes a club bigger?
For me, the first thing is
number of trophies in history.
Success on the pitch.
In the past.
Success on the pitch.
In the past.
What's about when you decide to count it from and when you decide to stop? We can decide to count from 1992. We can decide to count from 2002. I don't know when you want to start, when you want to stop.
We can go back to post-war if you want, when United were actually playing their games at Main Road because they were bombed out of Old Trafford.
Man City are the biggest club.
All right. Hold on. Because I know you two will argue about this all day long. There were also some other Premier League games at the weekend.
Really?
And they're going to fight these two, you know. How are you two going to fight in the studio, right? Listen, we've got to keep it clean here. Now,
there's disrespect to Man United going on. I'm not happy, Robbie.
All right, let me hurt you even more. Liverpool won as well. They won 2-0, so they're also doing brilliantly at the top. So that's not good news for Man United fans.
And they're still smaller than us, by the way.
Chelsea 0, Everton 0. Chelsea still unbeaten, but surprised there that they didn't get there because they normally always beat Everton. That was a 0-0 draw. And Arsenal have been doing really well recently. Held to a surprise draw at home to Wolverhampton Wanderers. And Wolves, I was at the game. Wolves played really, really well in that game. And I have to say, they were very, very unlucky not to win. They deserved to win the game. And that's me speaking as an Arsenal fan. Okay, now it's time to get into the baller and the waste man of the week. The baller, of course, is the person, player, team who've been absolutely brilliant this week. So we know, unfortunately, Neeks, Man United are not going to be in that category. But Manchester City are. They were absolutely brilliant against Manchester United. Candidate number 2, Solomon Rondon of Newcastle. He scored a brace at the weekend. in Newcastle's 2-1 win over Bournemouth. He's been heavily criticised since he's gone to Newcastle, but what a way to get, you're scoring off to, and, they won the game as well. So brilliant by Solomon Rondon. And candidate number 3, Cardiff. Let's give it up for Cardiff. Give them a round of applause. Well done to Cardiff. Everybody's saying they're going to go down, but another win for them. 2-1 winners over Brighton. And that was a very, very big win for them. Did you see in that game, Sol Bamba, he took his top off. Yeah. Right? He took his top off in the celebration. Now, you're supposed to get a yellow card for that. The referee apparently didn't spot that he took his top off, but went up to him and asked him, "Did you take your top off?" And he turned around and he said, "No, I didn't," and avoided a yellow card.
Can that be done retrospectively? Just out of curiosity.
I got a feeling that might be a retrospective yellow card coming along somehow, but it was brilliant. I love that. So Cardiff have got to be in it. The winners, who do you think?
It's got to be City, hasn't it?
But you said it was a mid-table team, so that's expected. Cardiff won a relegation, 6-pointer, innit? So
I can't argue with that.
Innit?
I can't argue with that.
Which one is it?
Thank you for giving me that.
All right, let's get into Waste Man of the Week.
Oh, now, can I nominate United?
You can nominate United because they're in there. Candidate number 2, the referee in the Cardiff game who I just spoke about. Candidate number 3 is the referee in the Southampton game. Now, he disallowed that goal for Southampton. They would have gone 2-0 up. Of course, Southampton are struggling. And Charlie Austin, after the game, he ripped into the referee. Really, do you see a player show that amount of passion and really go off on one in a press conference? It was refreshing. He's obviously going to get in serious trouble over it.
I've got to say, I watched that goal that you're talking about, and I can't help thinking that actually the question should be the grey area that comes into that decision making, because we've all seen these goals where a player is almost in line, dips his body and pulls his stomach in. I have to pull mine in a long way to let the ball go past and go into the net. And is that interfering? Is it not? Well,
come on, Ian. There's nothing wrong with that goal. If that had been given against City in the derby, you wouldn't have had it, would you?
All the City fans would have been like, the referee's from Altrincham. That's what they would have been saying.
And he was, by the way.
Well, listen, it was great. Charlie Austin was great in there. But the referee, I'm sorry, he gets the prize of Waste Man of the Week. For me, disallowed a perfectly good goal, too picky, and that cost Southampton 3 points. So, referee...
Mark Hughes said that could send him down. I think he's kind of making excuses already, but I mean, when you're down there at the bottom, you need those decisions to go.
Maybe I should include him in it for saying that. Hi, welcome along. We've got a special guest today. It's Gatsby from TOWIE in the building. Listen, it's a pleasure to have you on.
Thanks for having me, bro.
You know what? I didn't realise that you used to be a footballer.
I did, yeah.
Right?
I did,
He was at West Ham's academy, wasn't he?
I was, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
How was that experience?
Brilliant. Obviously, I was pretty young at the time, but obviously it teaches you a lot about football being part of the academy, like the discipline, training like 2-3 times a week and then having to play a game on the weekend. And obviously being around all the first team players at that age is a great feeling. Like obviously at the time it was like Harry Redknapp was the manager, Frank Lampard was playing there, John Hartson. So being around all of them sort of players.
Some good players there, weren't they?
Yeah. It was a good squad back then. So it was a great experience.
Now being at an academy is tough. I know that because my son is at academy and there's so many talented players there, but only a few are going to make it.
Yeah.
Right? And what was it like to be told at some stage that Gatsby, or maybe they said Liam, we like you.
Yeah.
I think you got a lot of talent. We're not going to move you on to the next level. That must have been heartbreaking.
It was, but for me, it was circumstances were a bit different. Like I used to go to football a lot with my dad. So my dad used to take me to all the games. Like we used to go to Leyton Orient together, spend a lot of time. Then my father, unfortunately, passed away at the time I was at the academy. So really, like, I just lost interest from there. That was really where it was stemmed from, my interest. So it was really more of like a a mutual thing, maybe, that I didn't continue with the football, but maybe I should have carried it on looking back. But
I was going to say, do you have any regrets? I mean, obviously, it must have been really hard, but do you have any regrets? You know, especially when you see Frank Lampard, look what he went on to do, you know.
Listen, it would have been great to be a baller, do you know what I mean? But it just wasn't meant to be. But
you wouldn't be on TOWIE though, would you?
Wouldn't be on TOWIE, yeah. But footballer, TOWIE, I don't know. No, listen.
Which one would you go? Which one would you have preferred?
Like, my passion obviously was always football from a young age. So if I could have been a footballer, I would love to have been a footballer. Yeah.
Now you said you mentioned Orient there. Your dad taking you to Orient. You're an Orient fan, aren't you?
Die hard, yeah. Big Orient fan.
You're a glutton for punishment. I mean,
well, that was my dad's fault. So I never really got an opportunity to pick a team. But I'm glad I did go for the underdog. Do you know what I mean? It's a lot more fun.
What's it like supporting a team like Orient? You know, unfortunately, a couple of years ago they went down, dropped out of the league. But they have been a famous old club that's been in the league for years and years and years.
For years and years,
but always sort of down the bottom end of the league. You know what I mean? Struggling.
Yeah.
Now, you know what, as an Arsenal fan, you know what I mean, fans are always moaning and groaning about our struggles.
Yeah.
In comparison to following a club like Orient, it can come nowhere near. But yet still, people who support teams down that end of the pyramid, I notice that they don't moan as much. They kind of enjoy that struggle.
Do you know what it is? I think that I'm so used to how we play and being in the lower level divisions, I actually prefer it. I think like we haven't really got all that sort of like commercial side to it as much as like the Premier League teams. Like one of my memories is like a few years ago. But one of my best memories of Leyton Orient was actually beating Arsenal in the FA Cup at Brisbane Road.
Yeah, right.
We drew.
Yeah,
we scored in like the 89th or 90th minute to get the draw to come to the Emirates Stadium. And then I remember going to the Emirates and there was loads of like fans that had just jumped on board, like pretending, we're big Leyton Orient fans now that we get to go to the Arsenal Stadium and play. And it just made me realise like I prefer our club being smaller and we've got our own like tight knit community and stuff like that, rather than when you go into the Premier League, it's just a lot bigger business, isn't it? So
if a sheikh or a Russian billionaire took over your club Orient, right? Brought in Neymar, top players like that, right? And then all of a sudden you start flying through the leagues, end up in the Premier League, end up taking on Man City and them teams for the title. You wouldn't like it.
I'd love it. I'd absolutely love it.
I love at least he's honest, man. I love the honesty.
Now, when you put it like that, you know what I think you're right.
Compare yourself, how you used to play, to if I was to say, Gatsby, what footballer that you see play now are you most like when you played?
Probably Ronaldo. I'd have to say Ronaldo.
What, the big one after he retired? No, I'm only joking. Sorry, man. Sorry.
No, like I was a striker. I used to bang them goals in. Used to score goals all day long.
All right.
Obviously, he's got the fashion sense. He's got the looks. You know what I mean? So
there you go, man. Yeah, that's true. Actually, yeah. All right, I see that. He's got the swag.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. All right, I see that.
Yeah.
Listen, thanks very much for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
You know, I wish you would have continued on your football career.
Yeah, no, so do I. Really. That's one of the things that I really regret not continuing with. But I do get to play in a lot of like celebrity football matches, which I did. Like I actually played at Leicester Stadium. I played recently at Sunderland's ground.
Yep, Stadium Alive.
Everton.
It's a nice ground.
Everton's ground. We played for the Bradley Lowry Foundation.
Wow. Yeah, great foundation.
I get to play at all these great big clubs and stadiums still. So it's still a privilege.
You got the best of both worlds now.
Yeah, I got the best of both worlds.
Brilliant. Thank you very much for coming on. Keep up the good work.
Thank you too.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Now it's time to get into Challenge Robbie. This is the section on the show where we take a look at the games coming up at the weekend and we do our predictions on it. It's going to be a bit different this weekend because we're on an international break, so it's going to have an international flavour to it. Just before we get into Challenge Robbie, actually, I want to ask you guys, international break, where do you guys stand on it? Neeks, international break.
I actually enjoy the international break.
Yeah.
I think the Premier League, even as a fan, I don't play the 90 minutes myself as the footballers do. But as a fan, sometimes you just need a break. Like after that Manchester derby, I'm just like, you know what? I need a 2 weeks off.
What about you, Ian?
Perfect timing. We can reflect on the glory of the derby victory for a couple of weeks. And then
Are you going to stop going on about that?
7 league games to go in December, going up to January, and obviously the return of the Champions League next year, tail end of it this in the next few weeks. So lots of things to look forward to.
Before we do that, let's just look back at last week, right? Last week's challenge, Robbie. I won it.
You're looking smug.
And I won it.
You're looking smug.
I'm looking smug. I'm like Ian Cheeseman right now, right? Because I won it easy. I beat Troops. I beat Drifty, the Liverpool fan as well, winning it by 4-1. So give me a round up. Yeah, man. Yeah. And I'm going to win it again this week.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah, I'm sure.
I don't know about
right?
that. Man.
Now I've picked 3 games from the Nations League for us to look at. 3 games that are not easy to predict. England versus Croatia.
You know what? Normally I never predict, but for you, Robbie, I'll make an exception, right? So I'll say 2-1 England.
2-1 England?
I was going to say 2-1 England as well. I think England's at home.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2-1 England.
I'm going to go 3-1. I'm going to go 3-1 England. England are confident. They're buoyed by that victory, in Spain. I think England are going to be up for this one. A goal by Rashford, maybe, and a goal by Sterling. They'll share it around. They'll keep the peace in
I'll take that.
All right. Switzerland versus Belgium. This is a hard one to predict.
Well, Belgium at the moment are the best team in Europe as far as I'm concerned, so I'll go for a Belgian victory by 2-0.
2-0. Switzerland at home, they've got guys like Shaqiri, Xhaka. They're strong at home. But Belgium are really good.
I'm going to go Belgium 4-1.
Lukaku hat-trick?
Lukaku will get 2.
4-1. No way is it going to be 4-1. That's going to be a tight game. 2-1 Belgium. 2-1 Belgium. Belgium are good. Hazard, etc. They are good. But 2-1 Belgium. No, 4-1. Germany versus Holland.
I have to admit, I have German blood in me. But I also know that the Germans are playing terribly at the moment.
They are.
Whereas the Dutch are on the rise. So I'm going to go for a 2-0 win for Holland.
It is in Germany.
Doesn't matter. Going for Holland.
And this is a real... You know what? We're talking about the Manchester derby. This is a real sort of country derby. The two countries really don't like each other at all in football.
Well, this is why I don't predict. I'm going 2-1 Holland, and I bet I'm wrong.
It's not a bad shout, though.
I'm going to go 2-2. Holland, they're playing very well. And I think Memphis Depay, ex-Man United, he's going to get on the score sheet, but I'll go 2-2.
Another ex-Man United player. It's a hard one to call. I was going to go for a draw. But Germany at home, they cannot afford to lose this game against Holland. The fans will kill them. Germany 1, Holland 0. Yeah?
Hope you're right.
I hope
from my point of view, from
Sane
a heritage point of view.
Sane to score.
Sane will do.
He's not getting the Man City
back in the squad.
Yeah. Neeks never stops, does he?
So, wow, you know what? The show has flown by today, and I've had 2 great guests on it. I've loved the banter between these 2 guys. I've got to ask you, Ian, are Man City going to win the league this year?
Yeah. Do I need to expand?
They're so cocky now, these City fans, aren't they? I preferred them when they were rubbish.
We all did, Robbie. We all did.
All I can say is that City are playing awesome football.
What about Manchester United, Neeks? I should be asking you if you can win the league as well, but can you get in the top 4?
It's sad that we're talking about this,
It's the reality, mate.
12 games in, we're not even in the title race. 7 points behind Spurs for 4th place. I think that's probably the only saving grace that is Spurs, and they are susceptible to mess it up for themselves. So I think we've got a decent run of games coming up. Crystal Palace, Fulham, Southampton, Arsenal in between that. I'm looking at 12 points, and I think we can get top 4.
Top 4. Can you stay up?
Taking the mic now. Taking the mic.
Listen, thank you both for coming today. You've both been brilliant guests. I've loved the vibe of the show today. You've been listening to Channel 4's The Real Football Fan Show podcast. Make sure that you subscribe, rate us and review us. It's very, very important, so please do that. And don't forget, you can watch The Real Football Fan Show on All 4, made for the fans.